Good afternoon, everybody, and let me begin by thanking you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here today. Now, my name is Sam, and I'm the Director of Human Resources here at Common Posters, and the reason I'm standing in front of you today is to build trust. More specifically, within Common Posters as an organisation, within its workforce. And over the next 6 minutes, I'm going to guide you through my plans on how to achieve this, and the structure is going to be as follows. So we'll start by introducing what the value of effective human resource management is, and I'll then present to you my two objectives. The main section of the presentation will then consist of the main problem to be addressed, the main cause of that problem, and of course my two-phase solution, and then towards the end a brief summary will be given, followed by a conclusion, and I'll then be able to answer any questions that you may have over the next few minutes. A handout will also be provided to you at the very end that condenses all of the information you're given. Now, enough with the formalities. Who can tell me what the value of effective human resource management is? Just throw some answers at me.
Using all the resources available to full capacity.
Absolutely. You too. Anyone?
To create trust between employees.
Absolutely, yeah. So I agree, and I've got some similar answers here. So we can agree there's definite value in effectively managing your human resources within a business. And I've used these kind of points to develop two objectives for this business. Now, the first one is specific to human resources, to establish a cooperative, united team-working environment where all employees can trust each other to carry out tasks to their maximum potential. And through achieving this, we can then expect to achieve a company-wide objective for February, which is to see no damage to company productivity resulting from interpersonal conflicts between these employees. So now you've heard these objectives, let me transition into the main body of the presentation so we can start to pick at the problem area. Now, to me, problems are like puzzles. They are there to be solved, provided you have all the right pieces, yeah? But the quality of that solution really depends on how we bring these pieces together. So for example, every year on Christmas Day, my whole family and me have this tradition of gathering around and we complete a jigsaw puzzle together. And every year the same thing happens. My granddad starts building the edges first, the foundation, as he says. My cousin Nick will start putting the middle pieces together. My dad's fast asleep, my sister's on the phone, and the dog has probably chewed through 2 or 3 pieces of the puzzle already. And what I have learned from this, other than Christmas is overrated, is that people and families are like puzzles in themselves. And every member of that family represents a unique yet equally important part of completing the puzzle. And Comic Posters is no different. This company family needs to be built on trust, on cooperation. It needs to fit together if they're going to achieve objectives and overcome problems. Now, the main problem that brings me here today is disappointing sales figures from January's open day event. They didn't match projections, and the department and myself, we sat down and we had a number of meetings to determine the main causes of this problem, why this really happened. And we identified an absence of trust as the main cause, specifically between Dutch and German students. Now, for whatever reason, possibly just human nature, a rift has arisen between these two nationalities in the workforce. And this line of logic here illustrates how that's led to the main problem. So a lack of trust and cooperation from them has led to a lack of input and motivation from Dutch students, who then had a poor promotion effort for the event, which consequently led to poor sales figures. So how can we bring these individuals together? How can we piece this puzzle back together? Well, my solution is very simple, and it involves 2 phases. Now, for phase 1, we need to take example from my grandpa. Now, remember I mentioned he builds the edges first, he builds the foundation. Well, it's the same principle here. For this family of employees to trust each other and cooperate, they need to be building on a foundation of friendship. So phase 1 is simple. It's an icebreaker exercise, where every employee will have 3 minutes to talk about who they are, their special skills and talents, and one concern they may have about the company and the way it's currently run. Phase 2 then simply builds on that foundation, where Dutch and German students will be randomly paired and then tasked with spending 2 hours together over the coming week, but outside of company activities. And the beneficial effects of this solution, we've already seen them. The value of effective HR management, the points you gave me at the beginning. This is the kind of stuff that we can achieve here. So to summarise, disappointing sales figures for the open day is what brought me here, caused by an absence of trust between certain groups of employees within the workforce. implementing solution phase 1 and 2, we can expect to achieve both the departmental and company-wide objectives that I have set. And before I bring this presentation to a close, I'd like to leave you with just one last thought, which is puzzles do not always stay solved. Whether they get boxed up until next Christmas, or thanks to the dog, a few pieces just don't quite fit anymore. Naturally, there will be times in the future where the members of comic posters may find trust difficult again and will need regrouping. But I'm hoping that today has proved to you, if anything, that the right foundations of trust and cooperation can be built within comic posters, so that from now on we can continue to grow as both a company and as a family as well. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll welcome any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much, Sam. Definitely, yes. Much involvement, and the personal touch was there, which always works with people, I'm sure. Trust. Imagine you've gained trust. It doesn't mean that it's a good team, is it? You said it's a foundation. What will be next steps?
After building trust, I think making sure that everybody is in the right job role, making sure that everybody is having their full potential maximised, which was one of the objectives, to make sure that people are where they should be and they're all coming together to be very productive and achieve objectives. Yes,
fair enough. So when you got the foundation of trust, when you've allocated the right tasks and responsibilities to people, then the team should be able to work as a real team then. Fair enough. A lot of things have happened to Dutch and German students. You did not go into these, well, let's take them as agents of change, because initially the situation was quite rosy, right? They believed in each other, and then certain things happened. What was the worst event or the worst cause for this divide between the Germans and the Dutch, according to you?
I think the major event would be the managing director issuing a punishment to certain Dutch students for not attending a particular meeting. And they argued that this was not just because they had not been given a correct schedule or warned about this meeting. And I think this led to a lack of trust and a slight feeling of undervalue for their efforts.
Exactly.
And this started dividing the two nationalities.
Yeah, most convincing. Thank you. Yeah, well, let me rephrase this one. What did you really focus on this presentation that you learned from your Speakeasy language presentation?
I think really engaging with the theme
and
carrying that throughout the whole presentation.
Yeah, you managed that for sure.
Yeah. And engaging with the audience as well.
Yeah.
More, rather than just talking at them, actually talking to them with them.
Sometimes I got the impression that you were slightly rushing. You started off beautifully, but in the middle part, towards the end, you started as if you were longing for this presentation to be over. Was there any particular reason for this? Was there too much?
There was quite a lot of content that I
yes, exactly.
Trying to squeeze quite a lot in. But I was trying to find that balance of getting a lot in, but without making it too rushed, more showing a sort of enthusiasm and a bit of sort of electricity throughout it, rather than making it too rushed.
Yeah, and those two steps needed to be given in one presentation, because if you only had given one, there would still be a lot of questions that would have been unanswered, and that's why you took both into one presentation. Risky, but you managed, right? So at times articulation suffered because and also the chunking, right? But you managed beautifully. I mean, what can I say? First impression, 859. Don't worry about this, right? Well done. So you'll be given a first impression only, right? And then after I read the transcript and I've focused on the rest of the material, the deliverables, we set a deadline with the previous students on Monday, next Monday at 12.
Okay, I'm going to be back in England, so can I get to you on Friday?
Oh yes, definitely.
That's right.
So that's the ultimate deadline. Yeah.
Sure. And will you send us the recording, I guess?